Hey everyone, this is Dr. William Clark for the Dr. William Clark podcast show. I'm so glad to be with you again, and I want to talk to you briefly before you go into the weekend, how to work on and prepare your fundraising goals this weekend. Now, it is still part of the new year. Some of you may not go back to work until Monday. That's cool, but you still have to be thinking about 2020 because it's 2020 and we are in the new year. I cannot believe we're here already, but you got to start thinking about your fundraising goals. So yesterday we talked about how to set those goals, and if you didn't catch that podcast, go ahead and catch the replay after this. But you want to start thinking about your fundraising goals, and I want this particular podcast episode to be a little lighthearted, right? Yesterday was kind of technical in terms of what you should do, the system I use, the system I would encourage you to use to develop your goals. But when you think about your goals for 2020, start to think about who you want to do business with internally and externally. And just begin just journaling and thinking about who those people are and why. I want you in 2020 to get out of the habit, get out of the business of talking about who you don't want to do business with, because everybody has a long list of people they don't want to do business with, and they can tell you why at the drop of a hat. We got to get beyond that, and we got to start thinking about who we're going to do business with, who we are going to do business with, and why. Start thinking about the positive. Now, I want you to think about this internally and externally. Who do you want to do business with internally? Your board, right? Many of you who have boards of directors, you know how hard it is to get them involved and engaged in the fundraising process. But it's important to have them engaged in the fundraising process because they are brand ambassadors. They represent your organization. They are volunteers. They are giving of themselves to you, to your nonprofit, to your organization, and they are part of what makes you alive, what makes you function. So do you want to do business with them, and why? Maybe you're a fundraising professional and you're not the CEO, but you're the chief development officer or the director of fundraising or grant writing or whatever your title is, and you want to do more business with your CEO. That makes a ton of sense. Your CEO has a role in fundraising. If they're not writing a grant, which typically they should not be, if they're not, right, maybe they have a role in just showing up at a meeting, responding to an event, giving a speech, having a coffee with someone of influence, making an introduction to a friend that they have that is important to your fundraising goal. Why do you want your CEO to be a part of your team this year to help you raise money for your nonprofit? Maybe you want to do business. If you're the CEO, you want to do business with your chief development officer, whoever that person is. Maybe there's been a disconnect in the relationship, in the process, in the strategy, and the outcomes. You've expected things up here, but the results have been down here for the past 12 months or more. Why do you want to do business with them? Talk about it. Talk about the benefits of a partnership. Maybe let's go back to the hat of this chief development officer. Maybe you want to do business with other people in the organization who have absolutely nothing to do with fundraising, like your program folks, your frontline folks, etc. Well, why would you want to do that? Well, because everyone has a role in fundraising within your organization. They are able to talk about the brand and the programs that you guys run. They're able to volunteer for events that are fundraising focused. They're able to forward event flyers, tickets, encourage their friends to buy tickets, etc. to events. They can be brand ambassadors. They can play a significant role in helping you tell the story of the brand and helping you recruit people who will support the nonprofit. You know, maybe the frontline folks aren't the best at grant writing, but maybe they can help you with grant writing. I have recorded a class in my master class, grant writing master class, talking about how to leverage other people who may not be as skilled in grant writing to help you write grants. If you want to get on that master class, go to mysixfigurefunding.com and you can go ahead and enroll there. But you'd be surprised how your frontline staff can help you. And then, maybe they can help staff volunteer events where you're just getting the brand out there, getting people interested in what's going on. And here's another idea where they can play a role, where they can build up your individual donor base. The frontline staff, right? Let me just say this. They may not be as influential in your ability to fundraise in the big picture, but you'll be surprised how prideful they are about working at the nonprofit you work at. They may not be doing everything you want them to do for whatever reason. We can get into all that, but for whatever reason, people still have pride about where they work at. And they tell stories about where they work at. They tell stories about the clients they helped, the people that they served, etc. And that could be a useful tool to helping you build an individual donor base by utilizing frontline staff, program staff, operations staff. You will be surprised. Who do you want to do business with and why? So let's go external. Maybe you want to do business with the same funders for good reason. Continuity in relationships help. It allows you to forecast as much as possible the year ahead for your funding needs and support. Maybe you want to do business with a new funder. Maybe you want to add a new funder or set of funders to your portfolio, which makes a ton of sense to me. You want to make sure you expand the number of people who are funding and supporting your work and giving you help and resources to help you expand and impact and innovate for the sake of your clients. Maybe you want to do business with a local business owner, local entrepreneur. Because their work, their business, their place, their establishment has an impact on your clients. Maybe you want to do business with another nonprofit and partner together to go after a much larger grant. Or maybe you've noticed that you've heard from the frontline staff, operations staff, that there's a weakness in our operations and we can't afford to hire someone to fill this spot. So maybe we partner with another organization, we go in on a grant, or we partner with them to defray some of the costs, which then eats into some of your fundraising goals. In-kind donations helps quite a bit. Maybe you want to do business with them, and you never know. Maybe you want to do business with your local legislators, your local politicians, your governor, your mayor, anybody that has influence over legislation, state reps, city council folks, etc. Make a list this weekend of who you want to do business with, and do not focus on who you don't want to do business with, because obviously you're not going to go that direction, and you don't want to waste your time focusing on what you don't want to do. Focus on what you do want to do, who you want to do business with, and it's going to make a difference in the attitude that you have when you approach your fundraising for 2020. Make this a lighthearted task. Do what I do. Get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and enjoy yourself. And just journal, just jot it down and start to think about these things, because it's going to help you get into the mode of fundraising, especially as you're getting ready to go back to work on Monday and you're getting in gear and getting ready for the next set of grant applications to drop. So it's going to be critical for you to start to think about who you want to do business with. Follow me at mysixfigurefunding.com. We are starting up our series of webinars talking about how to triple your fundraising results, your capacity, your output, etc. I'm excited to share that with you. And I encourage you to share that with a friend. Invite them to be part of that webinar where I'm going to be teaching on these principles. I am Dr. William Clark for the Dr. William Clark Podcast Show, and we'll see you in the next show. Peace.